Good evening, everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming out. My name is Jim Onise, high school principal here. And tonight is a big night for all of you in terms of coming to the high school and learning about some of the academic programs that are available to your children. This is, do we have first timers? First timers to the high school for this event? Wow. Okay. Do we need extra tissues? Are we going to be okay? Thursday night, I have my third and final child going to a meeting like this, so I can sympathize. It feels like yesterday that my senior was here in a meeting like this. So it goes quick, but it's a great experience. And all of you probably know this for choosing to live here, but our programs, if you're talking about academics, our activities and our clubs, 90 plus clubs and activities, the athletic programs, they're second to none here at the high school. And all we want is for your children to maximize their academic potential and have the best possible high school experience. And being involved is a big part of that. So I know later on tonight, when you get a chance to move around, I hope you stop by D133. You get to meet Dr. Sant with our clubs and activities, and you might also see Mr. Dreisbach with athletics. You know, the meeting tonight is a couple things. One, you get to walk through the high school, see what the high school looks like. We have about 45 minutes in here where you hear from our core department heads, and they'll talk about their subject areas, some of the requirements and expectations, and also highlight some of the courses that your children are looking to enroll in for next year. And then we'll move to 3 different breakout sessions. You'll have an opportunity to see the different rooms that are available. And before I forget, I want to make a special note on 2 of these. Some of you might be interested in having your children in the Project Lead the Way program. We have teachers here specifically for those specific programs, whether or not it's architecture and engineering, or it's computer science, or it's biomedical. So just jot down this number, please. If you're interested in the computer science, PLTW. So we call it Comp Sci, PLTW. That's going to be, there's going to be a meeting in A128. And if you are interested in the biomedical PLTW, that meeting is going to be in A126. So I just want to make sure you have those dates. And we'll be around here to let you know if you didn't get them, and if they're still available, obviously, once we break out from here. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Roberts here to talk about the counseling component here. As you're listening to these presentations tonight, I want you to think about 2 things. One, finding the right level in 9th grade is critical. And it's not always the same level in every subject. So when you're talking about course levels and rigor and having a successful 9th grade year, find the right level per subject based on the strength of your child. Number 2, all of you are probably familiar with the online registration process. So you've been doing this while you're in middle school, selecting courses and looking at teacher recommendations for levels, and going into HACC, signing up for that, and checking off certain courses. That's going to be, again, new to the high school this year. But what's important, what's different, is the elective offerings. So you really want to spend some time reviewing the elective offerings for 9th grade students, seeing what's available to them, and when you go into HACC, choosing multiple electives so that they can find something that they're interested in, and then of course, clicking save, which, obviously will come up, and your children will get a chance to sit down with their guidance counselors in the social studies classrooms, and they'll review and finalize all of those course selections while they're at the middle school within the next month or so. But without further ado, I want to turn it over to Mr. Roberts. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. This will be a very productive meeting for everyone. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. Going to get a lot of information tonight, so buckle up here. First and foremost, we hosted your sons and daughters here Friday morning. Hopefully they shared some information with you. The presentation you're getting tonight, we shared a lot of this with them on Friday morning. This afternoon, 2 Two of our counselors, one, Meredith McGar, went to Orfield Middle School, Ryan Humes went to Springhouse Middle School, to go into great detail about the high school curriculum offerings, bell schedule, everything. So hopefully your sons and daughters came home and shared that wonderful information with you. If not, I shared that with you now. You can go home and let them know about it. So, Parkland High School. Break it down for you a little bit. Every student in 9th grade will take a minimum of 6.25 credits. Of those 6.25 credits, every student is required to take an English course. Every student is required to take a history course. Every student is required to take a math course. Every student is required to take a science course. So right there you have 4 credits. If your son or daughter has any intention of going on to a 2 or 4 year college, it would be extremely beneficial for them to take a world language. And Mrs. O'Donnell will talk a lot more about that in a little bit. If they're taking a language, that's 5 credits right there. Electives. We ask all freshmen to pick 8 electives when they register. Their top 8 choices. Now, for many of you in the room who went to college, you know that freshmen are kind of the last ones scheduled. That's the same here. Seniors are scheduled first, followed by juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So we want the students to have alternative choices of electives. So make sure when you sit down with your son or daughter and review elective choices, you make sure that when they're at number 7 or 8, they're just not, we'll just take this, or we probably won't get this. They may see that course. So have them put great thought into the top 8 elective choices, all right? Pay particular attention to the prerequisites. Some of our electives have prerequisites. For example, you cannot take American foods until you've taken basic foods. So pay particular attention to the electives and the prerequisites for those electives. Every student will also take phys ed. It's a 0.25 credit value, and that's offered for 1 semester, okay? A little bit about how the high school schedule works. English, history, math, language courses, they're single period courses offered every day of a 6-day cycle for 44 minutes. Pretty much all of our science courses, with the exception of a few sections of earth science, are offered every other day, let's say odd days or even days of the 6-day cycle, for 88 minutes, okay? Phys ed is also offered 88 minutes every other day for just 1 semester. If a student has 4 core classes, world language is the 5th core class, 2 electives in phys ed, or 2 electives that equal 1 full credit, could be 1 full credit elective, that's 6.25 credits. Some students do take an overload of credits. Just so you know, I get asked this question every year. Your son or daughter has to take lunch. That's mandatory on the schedule. There are students that want to bypass lunch and take 9 courses. Impossible. You have to have lunch, so remind them that they must have lunch. Mr. Moniz was talking about the rigor of courses. That is so very important. As I stand up here today, I've spoken to so many freshmen this year, parents of freshmen, even the past couple of years. For students who want to take an honors level course, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, it's the first time they'll be taking an honors course. We don't offer honors courses at middle school. A few of our students will have the opportunity to take advanced placement courses, like freshmen can take advanced placement, world geography. Depending on where they're at, you know, some freshmen are at the level of advanced placement calculus AB. So those are college courses. And then I'll talk a little bit about GHP and CP, but it's really encouraging your sons and daughters to take the most rigorous schedule that they can handle. And that they can handle is key here. Depending on the level of course, there are a lot of demands on students academically. And then if they plan on being involved in various clubs and activities, it could be in the visual and performing arts, athletics, regular extracurricular activities here. They're going to have to master time management and organizational skills. And you also want to be able to have a conversation with them when they come home, and that they're not stressed out, they're ripping their hair out, they're up in their room studying, and you're like, well, where did my son or daughter go from 8th grade? So you want to make sure that they are picking a schedule that is perfect for them, that's rigorous yet realistic. That is key. Pay attention to what the 8th grade teachers tell your son or daughter about their recommendations, because their recommendations carry a lot of weight, because they're with your son or daughter pretty much on a daily basis. So really adhere to the recommendations and what they're recommending. A little bit about the levels. Advanced placement, that's our highest level of course. It is a college level course. Students could potentially get college credit for these courses via the College Board, so it is extremely rigorous, like a lot of higher level thinking skills. independent learning. Students must read and understand a college-level textbook. Must be writing at the college level. Again, advanced placement, college-level course. It is our highest weighted course. So an A in a GHP or CP course is worth 4 quality points. In an AP course, a regular A is worth 5 quality points. If you hear about the student with a 4.6 GPA, that's mathematically impossible because of courses like AP courses or honors courses. So if we're looking at an advanced placement course, remember it is a college-level course. Honors courses, great depth of instruction at a very accelerated pace. Again, lots of independent learning, outside reading, increased demand on the students' time, and class participation is expected. For some honors courses and AP courses, summer assignments are required, so make sure you check the criteria for that. Honors courses receive our second highest weight. For example, an A in an honors course is worth 4.5 quality points. We get down to gifted courses. Now gifted, regular weighting system here, A is worth 4 quality points. More advanced content than a college prep course, and the pace is more accelerated than a college prep course. Intended to develop higher order thinking skills, but again, a GHP course is not weighted. College prep course, you're learning all the basic skills that will enable you to compete at a 2 or 4 year college. It's a less accelerated pace, obviously, than gifted or honors or AP, but we'll still prepare students for college. We have another course level called CEW, Career Education and Work Readiness. This course is only for students that are enrolled in our LCTI program, and it's really kind of the academics part of the trade they're learning there, maybe more technical writing depending on what they're doing within their particular trade. Finally, we have a seminar level of course that is teaching students the basic skills necessary to take CP or CEW courses down the road. Seminar courses are only offered to freshmen and sophomore students in English and history. For students who are interested in attending LCTI, Lehigh Career and Technical Institute, those students would be at Parkland High School for half the day and at LCTI for half the day. And I know LCTI will be represented tonight in one of our breakout sessions, so please plan on attending one of those 15-minute breakout sessions. And I'll leave you again with the importance of picking a schedule that is rigorous yet realistic. Again, factor in if your son or daughter is involved in, let's say, the children's play. There are going to be a lot of nights where there's some, rehearsals maybe until 9 at night. If they're involved in athletics and they're playing an athletic contest at Pocono Mountain West, they may not get home until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And if they have like 3 honors courses, a couple gifted courses, maybe the CP course worked in there, there's going to be a lot of work. So I think time management is so key in that area. And students here, I don't think, take advantage like they should of this thing called Saturday and Sunday, where they don't actually come to school. A lot of our students figure, we can clock out Friday at 2:53, we'll pick back up at Monday at 7:40. That's not the case. The fact that they have Saturdays and Sundays available when they're not in school from 7:40 to 2:53, ideal times to get some work done. I know they may look at you at home like, are you crazy? I'll tell them the same thing. No, it's a great time to catch up. So that's just a little bit about the expectations here. We're going to see your sons and daughters throughout the year. They'll be coming up here for guided tours from students, so we've already seen them twice. We'll be seeing them a lot more. That being said, I'm going to turn the presentation over to the English Department Chair, Mr. Timothy Schwartz.
Good evening. Tim Schwartz, 27-year teacher here at the high school and the English department chair. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." So right now I'm glad that you're here tonight in the sharpening the axe stage, and then next year when your kids are released here into the high school and that they are going through their schedules and deciding what they're going to be doing with their lives, that's going to be when they're chopping down that tree of learning and experience that. So I appreciate that you're here. You're the most important person in your son or daughter's education, so thank you. In terms of the English department, English is required, as Mr. Roberts said, in 9th grade, but it's also required at every grade level here at the high school. Every grade, every year that the students move on, they have to take one English class. And English is also broken down into time periods. So next year for 9th grade, the English classes deal with America's beginnings to 1900 with Native American and colonial literature and supplementary readings. And then in 10th grade, it's America 1900 to the present. 11th grade is the beginning of the English language to the Romantic period of 1798. And then when they get to be seniors, it's British and world literature from 19th century England to the present day. All along the way, they're reading within that time period for our anthology, which is an online textbook called Study Sync. But we'll also have supplementary readings that they do if they read additional novels, plays, and short stories that sometimes move in and out of the time period for that particular grade level. In addition to the literature, specifically in 9th grade, we have a very intensive grammar program in 9th grade where they're going to be doing grammar a lot of the year. In addition to that, they'll be doing a lot of writing, essays, and keystone preparation. Vocabulary is mostly based on our Study Sync anthology, and there's a vocabulary section in that online textbook that we take a lot of our vocabulary. And also some of the vocabulary deals with the specific literature that the students might be doing in their classrooms and reading. 9th and 10th grade is a lot of keystone preparation to get them ready for the first time. They're going to take the keystones in 10th grade, and then if you have a CEW kid who's going to be taking the CEW rigor level, it's a lot of college and career preparation and preparing them for the work world. We have a staff of 28 English teachers here at the high school. I encourage you to check out the high school website or go on Schoology so that you can see the websites that the English teachers have, and you can kind of see the programs that they're running within their classrooms right now. Mr. Roberts mentioned about the honors level, and honors level is the highest level offered at 9th grade, and attached to that there is a summer assignment for the 9th grade honors English class, and that is reading 2 novels, Light in the Forest by Conrad Richter and Call of the Wild by Jack London. Usually the summer assignment has to deal with reading specific texts and then doing some kind of journal activity or project associated with those readings, and then the first week of school they would have an objective test based on those particular novels that they read or plays that they have read. And then some of the other summer assignments as we move on to the different grade levels. 10th grade, Catcher in the Rye. 11th grade, Lord of the Flies. And 12th grade, they have to read 3 books, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, Doll's House by Heinrich Ibsen, and The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I think one of the most attractive things in the English department is our wide range of electives. Because within the English department, we range from studying literature and texts to also studying theater. We have a lot of different electives in publishing, in stage and communications, and other literature. So publishing, we have our yearbook and school newspaper that's available as an elective. In writing, we have Creative Writing 1, Creative Writing 2, and Journalism. And we've also had some students who did like independent studies. If they were really, really into creative writing, they can actually look into taking an independent study and doing like Creative Writing 3 or 4 beyond the first one, and first 2. In the stage, we have Theater Arts 1 through 4. We have Technical Theater, Stage Lighting and Sound Design. In Communications, Intro to Mass Communication, Video in the Digital Age, Producing and Directing Film, and our Television News Studio, PMN, which does the morning and afternoon announcements for the students here in the school. We also offer a public speaking elective if you have a son or daughter who would probably gain good experience from speaking in front of a crowd and learning the techniques to build confidence in their public speaking. Some of the other literature and general electives, we have Greek and Roman mythology, sports and literature, and women writers. And a lot of these electives, I will tell you, are based on how many students sign up for them so that we have a minimum number of students for us to run the class. So if your student is interested, if your son or daughter is interested in something like women writers, make sure that they choose that as elective when they go through the scheduling process, because the minimum number changes from year to year based on how we're going to run that, if and when we're going to run that course. So if they have an interest in it, sign them up for it, and hopefully the class will run for the next year. If you have any particular individual questions for me, I will be in room A125 for the breakout sessions, and I did bring the 9th grade curriculum along, and I can answer the differences between the rigor levels that Mr. Roberts alluded to, and can tell you like how many novels are required at the honors level, how many novels are required at the GHP and CP levels. So I'll be an A125 if you want to ask me those specific questions. If not, I'll turn over the program to Mr. Tony Galusi, who's the chair of the math department.
Welcome everybody. I'm in my 26th year here teaching mathematics at Parkland High School. And as you can see, I started really young when I was here, before we had all the bells and whistles of smart boards and these screens like this. I used to have to use the classroom walls to get my point across in mathematics. Yeah, I'm glad you understood that. Your sons and daughters did not understand that. Very disappointing. Well, I have a few topics to discuss with you. The first is the math class sequences. It's in the course book. I think it's very important, like Mr. Roberts stated, to look at the level of the courses, whether it be AP, honors, GHP, CP, decide what level is best for your son or daughter. Things to consider when you're thinking about that. What career path? I know they're young. They might not know their career path yet. Are they interested in the sciences, the arts, maybe engineering? Their motivation, how were they in middle school with their study habits, their interest levels? Oh, that's why they didn't laugh that much. That's probably why your sons and daughters didn't laugh too much either. The other thing to think about is your ability level. Right? How successful were they in Algebra 1 or pre-algebra or Algebra 2 geometry, whatever math course they took? Did it come easy to them? If it did, maybe they want to go to the AP and honors level. And the one thing that I'm hearing more and more every year is about getting ahead. More and more of my students are saying, well, I want to get ahead. I want to get ahead. I want to double up in classes. I want to take summer courses. That's fine, but as long as they understand that getting ahead doesn't mean you're taking the course. Getting ahead is understanding the material. So I want them to be very cognizant of that just getting ahead doesn't mean you took the course. It's very important to learn the information because the math is very sequential. It's hard to have success in Algebra 2 unless you understand Algebra 1. It's hard to understand college algebra unless you understand Algebra 2 and so forth. So if there's a gap in there somewhere, it's going to show up later. And you can find all this information on page 38. The course descriptions. Right, the course descriptions for mathematics are on pages 39 to 43. Like Mr. Roberts said, make sure to read the prerequisites. For mathematics, it's fairly straightforward until you hit college algebra. After college algebra, then you can start branching off to different courses. We have a pre-calculus course. There's something new this year. You're required 3 math credits to graduate. Many of our students do take 4 credits. In the past, statistics was an elective course. That's no longer true because we wanted another pathway for our students. Some of our students aren't interested in taking calculus or may not need calculus at the next level. So now we offer statistics as a full credit course that is no longer an elective. So that will count towards their graduation. We do have several electives. Unfortunately, for incoming freshmen, it's very limited. Pretty much the only one available for them is game development and design. As they proceed, we do have a math internship, and we do have a very extensive computer science pathway. Their favorite, the Keystone exams. Yes, the class of 2022, it is a graduation requirement. If they have passed the Keystones before they in the high school, they are finished. They don't have to worry about the Algebra 1 Keystone exams. If they were not successful in completing the Keystone exam in Algebra 1, we will have a lot of remediation opportunities available for them. We have a math lab where students are pulled out of study hall and they get to work at their own pace in the library. We have some other classrooms to work on some of the skills needed to be successful. We also have a boot camp that's offered after school in the fall, in the spring, and over the summer where they can work on, we have a teacher in there where they can work on some of the skills so they can pass the Keystone exam. And a lot of in-class activities. We have an IXL program, and I'm sure you're familiar with Study Island. Because every time I mention them, I hear the same groans over and over. Study Island. But yes, we also have Study Island for them to work with. Summer enrichment offerings. As you can see where my mind is over the summer on a cruise ship, but we do have 4 summer offerings in mathematics. We have Algebra 2 and Geometry. Those 2 courses, it's taught in the building here over the summer. They're 5 days a week, 4 hours a day for 32 to 34 sessions. And then they must pass the final exam in that course. We also have college algebra and pre-calculus. Those are available online, but they still must come in and take a final exam in August. All the courses are taught at a GHP level. We don't offer an honors level summer course. And there is a minimum enrollment requirement to run these courses. Mrs. Bennett will be available in B125 after this in the breakout sessions to discuss more of the summer enrichment offerings for you. If you have any questions or concerns, I will be in room C200 after this for the breakout sessions. If you do not make it, I have my email up there. Please feel free to email me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Sean Bluso at the Science Department to come up. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sean Fluso. I teach physics here at the high school. And on behalf of the 26 science teachers that we have here at Parkland, we'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. And it's not forgotten the benefit of the parental support that we get here at Parkland. The evidence that we see so many people out here tonight just shows how much you care and are involved in your children's lives. So we thank you for that support there. I'll try to keep this short for you tonight for science. Even though if you would look through the course selection catalog, science is the most nonlinear of all the core disciplines because you could have multiple different pathways to get through science. Likewise, you also only need 3 years of a science in order to graduate, but obviously if college would be in the future, we highly recommend taking advantage of taking 4 years of a science. If possible, even doubling up 1 year. So within the science department, there is 4 areas or 4 disciplines that we have, and that would be earth and space science, biology, chemistry, and physics. And going into it, the recommendation is that all children, if possible, would take at least one of those courses within those disciplines. And we do have the various levels within those, even with a wide variety of advanced placement offerings as well. Now, the reality is there is only 4 years at the high school and so many different courses to take. So in a lot of cases, it virtually is impossible to take all the AP offerings that we have. You just can't fit it into the schedule. So that either involves sometimes omitting one of those disciplines or sometimes doubling up within a year. So the traditional course pathway looks like this, where you would take earth science in 9th grade, biology in 10th grade, and chemistry in 11th, and physics in 12th. But again, obviously, if you want to take, if your children would like to take some of those AP offerings that we have, for example, AP chemistry, you would need to take a full year of honors chemistry before you could take AP chemistry. So, what do you do with that? So, looking at going into the high school coming into 9th grade, it leaves with just a few options for right now. Well, number one, all students have to take biology because that is a keystone course. So whether you take it in the traditional 10th grade or some students choose to go right into that in 9th grade and take honors biology as a 9th grader, that is also an option. But at the end of that class, that's our only science class that you have to do this, but there is the keystone exam that's taken as a cumulative exam per the state at the end of the course there. So if your son or daughter is looking at possible AP courses in science later down the road, that might be the path that they'd like to take. So initially though, if you're going in, children aren't sure if they want to pursue science yet, they're just going in general ed. Earth science would be the one to start. So that's it. In 9th grade, we recommend there's 3 different levels. As mentioned, the levels of rigor, you want to be selective as to the appropriate one. And one thing that we just ask the parents here that you could help your children make this adjustment on is the 88-minute every other day time structure in science. With the exception of a few sections in CP biology and CP earth science where they meet every single day for 44 minutes, the every other day nature of those courses is a bit of an adjustment for a lot of students because, again, sometimes they'll tend to procrastinate on the work and not look at their things, being that they don't have the class that very next day. So please reinforce at home that even though they might not have their science class on the next day because it's every other day, they should still be putting that time into repair every night. And obviously, if there's an absence involved, that making up the work could be that much harder too. So all our teachers use Schoology. If they would be absent and miss an hour-and-a-half long class, which is like 2 classes in one, they should do their best to catch up before return. The other option, like I said, is honors biology to come into 9th grade. And again, preferably this would be taken in addition to earth science if it's possible in the schedule. In some cases, it's not, and students go right into honors biology. Keep this in mind, though, because a lot of students have tried to pull this in the past. Going into honors biology and declaring that as the intent of study, and then saying in the first week of school that the summer assignment was too difficult, I wish to drop down to CP biology as a way of somehow getting around taking earth science is not allowed. So if they would sign up for honors biology and then decide to drop down to earth science, or decide to drop down from that, you would be placed in earth science, not CP biology then, as a result of that. Like I said, it is recommended that you take all 4 of those disciplines if possible. So, aside from that, I'll be available if you have any other questions about planning the future with AP courses down the road. Like I said, there's a lot of different offerings, but the choices are pretty much 2 going into next year, either earth science or honors biology, and if possible, both of those if that would fit into your schedule then. But looking into next year then, as they enter the high school, freshmen are welcome to join these clubs. We do offer 4 different extracurricular clubs in science: the Science Olympiad, Science Fair Club, STEM Club, and there's also new this year, the Physics Club. So we encourage the children to be involved in some extracurricular activities, and they can find out more information about these during the activities fair that happen in September. So after this, I'll be available in B210, and I encourage you to check out our website. We have an extensive website that has more than enough information if you have any other questions about science. But otherwise, welcome to Parkland High School. I'm going to turn over the program to Mrs. Steinbach, who's going to tell you about the Social Studies Department. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you all for coming. I am Mrs. Steinbach, Chair of the Social Studies Department. We're the ones who help your kids learn how the world works so they can put all that good math and science to work in a useful way. As Mr. Roberts said, the most critical decision you're going to have to make in social studies, because our schedule through their career at Parkland, all 4 years they will be taking a social studies course, is pretty simple. The biggest decision is going to be what level you're taking, and specifically with regard to social studies, your kids will need to be, at least for the first 3 years, in the history classes that we require them to take. If you want to take the AP or honors levels, excellent readers, avid readers, excellent writing skills and communication skills, they're going to be doing a lot of reading and writing, and so these need to be kids who are innately excited about history. They're the ones who watch the History Channel for fun. And then when you get up into the upperclassmen years, when you are required to take economics and can take psychology as an elective, the AP levels of those courses require not only excellent reading and writing skills, but also, and this is a rare combination for students, also some excellent math and quantitative thinking skills. So just keep that in mind as you're choosing levels. Otherwise, things are very simple in the Social Studies Department. 9th grade, everybody takes American Studies 1. That is the required course. So the choice is what level? Honors, GHP, CP, Seminar, and CEW. There is also an elective out there that we have made available just in the last couple of years to our freshmen, a chance for them, if you think that they're up to the challenge, to take a college course, an AP Human Geography course. Again, this is not to replace the required American Studies course. This would be an elective to fit in one of their other unscheduled periods of the day. And it's a super interesting course, and since it studies migration patterns of humans throughout history, and now it's quite relevant to things that are happening today. In 10th grade then, everybody takes a second year of American Studies. And again, the decision is just what level are you doing? At this time, you are able to have your student take AP U.S. History. The difference between the Honors U.S. History and the AP U.S. History at this level is that the Honors U.S. History is going to start where the 9th grade Honors U.S. History ended, let's say the Civil War, and go from there, whereas the AP U.S. History is going to go back to the beginning, start over, and do the whole thing all in 1 year. So it's going to be moving at twice the pace as the Honors course is. So quite challenging, but also a very popular course for our students. And again, that AP Human Geography is also available as an elective. Looking further down the road for your student, when they get to 11th grade, the required course is World Studies. And again, it's a matter of what level. We have an AP World level as well. And at this point, we also have an online version of that AP course. There is not an online version of any of the other level courses, but at the AP level, students can also opt to take that online. The online course is taught by one of the teachers who is here, present here at the school, and so it's a great way to try an online course kind of with training wheels. Your teacher is here, and you can see that teacher whenever you want to, whenever you have questions. I teach an online course in AP Economics, and I make those students, and I know other online teachers have their students do this too, I make them come in to take tests in front of me. But otherwise, they're doing all of their work on their own time, at their own pace, online. So think about that further down the line. You don't have to think about that now, but it's just one of those things that is an opportunity that can open up for your students later. In 11th grade too, they also have access to a wider number of electives. Again, these don't take the place of the core required course of World Studies, but we have AP European History when we have enough students to run that. They can go back and take some AP US if they didn't take advantage of that in 9th or 10th grade. We have AP or a general one-semester course in psychology. We have a one-semester course in sociology, and still that AP Human Geography. We have grades 9 through 12 take that Human Geography course. In 12th grade then, and this is really looking down the line, but as Mr. Moniz said, it goes really fast, they have 2 courses that they must take. Each of them, except at the AP level, is just a one-semester course. So their social studies year in their senior year is generally 1 semester of government, US government, and 1 semester of economics. If they are taking an AP version of either one or both of those courses, the AP courses are each a year long, and with regard to comparative politics and the AP Econ, they are also available online. So it takes up a little more of your schedule if you decide to take one or both of those at the AP level. Otherwise, it's just basically one course, 1 semester of one thing and 1 semester of the other. And then, of course, all of those electives are also available to our seniors. So that's really it for social studies. We're very simple. We also have a number of activities for students to get involved in. History Day is a club or an activity. We have a political science club that's quite active. And just because I'm the advisor and it deals with kids who are super well-rounded in terms of their knowledge, we also have a very successful scholastic scrimmage team that's a lot of fun. So I will be up in C220. You can also email me at steinbach@parklandsd.org, just like all of the other teachers. It's just our last name, our first initial, and parklandsd.org. I would love to hear from all of you, and thank you again so much for coming. I'd like to introduce now Senora O'Donnell, who will speak to you about world languages.
Hola, bonjour, ta. Mi nombre es Senora O'Donnell. Welcome to Parkland High School. Language learning is a skill that all students have a tremendous opportunity to learn here at Parkland. Besides in an employment setting, sometimes language will appear in the future in unexpected ways or contexts waiting to be discovered by your children. And we have a very strong world language program consisting of 8 middle school and 20 high school teachers. Our department uses the World Readiness Standards as a competency roadmap to guide learners to develop effective communication in the target language and also learning to interact with cultural understanding. The 5 C's of these standards guide our methodologies in the classroom. And we know the study of a new language and culture is an essential piece of being an educated global citizen. We know in the combination of all of these academics we're talking about tonight that it always comes into play. And we have such feedback from our students after they graduate if they put in some time in a world language with us about ways that it entered into their education or their career, and it seems like it gives them a little bit of a leg up as opposed to not studying the language. Language learning today is so different. It's modernized tremendously in recent years. Students now have access to authentic resources online and are able to hear authentic speech through easily accessible audio and video, and it's really nice with the one-to-one because they're able to virtually visit places and hear authentic language, and it's kind of like they can take a virtual field trip a lot of times right through the computer. The college requirements, most colleges require 2 years of the same language, and of course, the more competitive colleges require more in certain majors like international business, etc., communication require more. We offer 1 through 5 of the French, German, and Spanish, and levels 2 through 5 honors, the honors level is available. For 9th graders, I like to emphasize the 2 levels that are available are either level 2 CP or the level 2 honors. And what's the difference is that with honors, the teacher will speak exclusively in the target language. And that's nothing, to really get too scared about. It's just an adjustment period. If your son or daughter is a good student, they have a good work ethic, and they're willing to put in some time, that's really how they become immersed in the language. If they stay through the honors level, I have 4 honors right now, class, we have no English spoken in the classroom at all, and it's really amazing the increase of the proficiency with the students because they're immersed in the language every day, and their classmates are speaking it as well. So it's pretty amazing what we can accomplish after 4 years at the high school. And also, I want to mention the middle school. I had a little reminder from a middle school teacher today to remind the parents, if your son or daughter has level 1 right now at the middle school, learning is cumulative. So the 8th grade middle school language grade will also appear on their high school transcript. So whatever they get this year in their level 1 will also be placed on their high school transcript. As of now, for language, there are no summer assignments for the honors level. And we also offer American Sign Language, levels 1 through 4, Latin. We have lots of dual enrollment opportunities you'll see in the course selection book. Also next year, based on the enrollment numbers, we're offering Arabic and Chinese. And if your son or daughter did not have level 1 this year, it doesn't mean they have to take it next year. If they need an adjustment period or they need a stronger foundation in their English courses, they can wait because they have 4 years to take any level of languages. They also may take another language as an elective. We have clubs for every language, trips abroad, honor societies later on with grades 11 and 12. And muchas gracias. I will be in room B103 to answer any questions. And now I will turn it back to Mr. Moniz.
All right, so there's a lot of information that was presented to you, and you're probably wondering, what do I do? How do I set my child up? Your parents, you as parents, you obviously want to put your children in the best position to be successful next year. Some of that is you're going to rely a little bit on those recommendations from middle school teachers. Some of it is your own gut instinct. But what I do want to tell you is when your children come to high school, they're resetting a little bit. And it's been a little while. They were the big man on campus for the past few years. or at least they are right now, as 8th graders. They're coming to high school and it's a different environment. It's 9 periods a day. It's fast-paced. It can overwhelm people. It really can. So choosing the right level is really important. From a parent to a parent, it's really important that you reset expectations at home. If you need to, or even if you're not sure, you can't go wrong on this one. Reset the expectations of what you want to see at night, how much work you want to see, what kind of time commitment you want your children to put into the work. And you have to be clear about those expectations. And I would advise that to you because as your children are coming to high school, it's a different environment. They're also coming into contact with other things that will be distracting to them. So being close to them, having that time with them, that commitment, that focused effort will help you get an idea of how well things are going. Because I know as, you know, I'm a father of 3 sons. I have 3 different children, I get 3 different answers. The second one, I know nothing about what's going on most of the time. There's a lot of digging and prodding. My oldest one, my youngest one, they'll tell me. But you can't go wrong on this one. And it's a really important year. So you're a long way away from that yet, because let's face it, it's January, and you're talking August and September. But I want you to think about it. I want you to write it down because it's important. And then when we meet again in August, if you come out to the parent orientation, I'll reemphasize that. But you want to be resetting those expectations. The workload is more intense. And I'm sorry, Dr. Minotti, you can throw stuff at me later. The workload is intense. So I don't want, it's just a little bit of a shock process that kids have to go through, and they're fine. But they'll do that better with your support and your understanding and knowing what's going on. I'll leave you with a couple stories. I know that Mr. Roberts mentioned about Saturdays and Sundays. And if you're really going to challenge your child, and if your child's heavily involved, I'm going to tell you the story of the most successful athlete that I've met in this district since I've been principal. It's 8 years. Sienna Salvaggio. I lost track. I think she had 6 gold medals in states and PIAA, all AP courses, all the way across. So she had gold medals in volleyball and swimming. It's unheard of, frankly. Phenomenal. And I talked to her parents, how did you do this? Because she was an incredible student. And it was Sundays. Sunday was a work day for her. So academics and athletics, going to class, but then lots of activities at night, was prepping for that status that she wanted to achieve. And that was her goal. But then Sunday was a schoolwork day for at least 5 to 6 hours of her day. And that was the commitment that she made with the courses that she was choosing to pursue and the academics and the athletics that went with it in that commitment. And the other one is just simply someone who I met tonight and longtime family friend. She shared with me that her sons just got Dean's List at Drexel. So couldn't be prouder of what our students do. When they come back at homecoming and they talk to us about what their experience was and was it rewarding, was it fulfilling, are they ready? I've never met a Parkland High School student that ever said to me that I wasn't ready for that experience in college. I wasn't ready for that job experience. They are always the most prepared, the best prepared. They're way ahead of the game. And as a parent, you should be excited about that. You should be proud of that. I just want you to know that going in, because there's a lot that's going to happen in the next 4 years. Don't lose sight of that. And with that, I'm going to send you off to our breakout sessions, and thank you for coming out tonight. I hope you have a very rewarding rest of your evening.